Welcome to Speaking with D. Hope if I knew the name of my own show. Welcome to Speaking of D. I'm D! For those of you who haven't seen this before, I'm D! An air traffic controller and his supervisor were suspended earlier this week. What could they possibly have done? Well, these two apparently worked at JFK Airport, and the air traffic controller decided it'd be a good idea to bring his children to work with him that day. And then he decided it'd be a good idea to let him talk on the radio to the pilots who were trying to depart. Wait, what? Yeah. And for those of you who don't know, JFK Airport is America's 6th busiest airport. Can you imagine how many people that is departing from that airport every single day? And this air traffic controller decided that he was going to let his kid go ahead and give them clearance for takeoff? Oh, and for those of you who don't know what an air traffic controller is, that's the guy who sits there behind the radio, scans the runway, and makes sure it's safe for a pilot to leave. So you've got this guy who's responsible for the lives of hundreds of people every single flight, and he's going to go ahead and let his kid go ahead and tell him it's safe to take off. What was he thinking? Yeah, and apparently that's not even the worst part. The worst part is that this kid apparently had 5 transmissions going out to these pilots who were trying to take off. I've actually got a clip. I'm going to go ahead and let you listen to that right now.
JetBlue 171, clear for takeoff.
Clear for takeoff, JetBlue 171. This is what you get, guys, when the kids are out of school. I can bring my kid to work.
JetBlue 171, contact departure.
Over departure, JetBlue 171. Awesome job.
03, clear for takeoff.
403, clear to takeoff. Thank you very much. You have a great day.
AMX 403, contact departure, adios.
Contact departure, Rhino Mexico 403. Adios.
Contact departure, adios amigo.
Adios, amigos. Over departure, JetBlue 195.
Can you believe that? Not only that, judging by that clip, it sounds like the pilots didn't care either. That makes this even worse. Apparently these pilots were warned beforehand that this kid was going to go ahead and make these transmissions. But does that really make it okay? I don't really think so. Why should this kid be allowed to do this? If everyone out there knows that America's having such a problem with national security, why are the employees out there letting their kids go ahead and do something like this? I know that a lot of you out there are probably thinking that this really isn't a big problem, but look at the grand schema of all of this. You've got this kid who's about 6 years old and he's going out there and telling pilots that it's safe to take off. This kid might possibly learn later in life that the government really isn't a huge deal because they're this big fun thing and they're going to let him go ahead and play with their radios. But why do they want a kid to think that? My parents never took me to work with them. They always told me that where they work is for adults only and kids shouldn't be there. I actually agree with them. I really don't know how much training a controller needs before he or she can go out and do their job, but I imagine it's pretty extensive. What if this kid screwed up? What if you had 2 planes that were waiting to leave the runway at the same time on opposite ends? They had just about the same number. Maybe this kid's going to tell one plane that it's okay to go, and then tell the other plane that it's okay to go because he tried to correct himself. You know how kids are. They don't really want to take blame whenever they do something wrong, so he's not really going to say anything. Now we've got a major problem on our hands. So apparently this father didn't think about that, and the supervisor didn't think it'd be a good idea to take that into consideration either. They're just going to have fun, warn the pilots ahead of time, hey, you're going to hear a kid over here in the air traffic controller, and then you're going to go when he says to go. You know, my parents always told me that the work ethic these days has actually gone down quite a bit. Seeing a story like this really makes me agree with them. It's a shame that nobody can take their job seriously anymore, and they think it's all about fun and games. I'm one of those people that I really do believe that if you can't go to work and have fun, you shouldn't be working there at all. But I do believe that there is a limit. You shouldn't really be doing your job if you're not going to have fun at it, but at the same time, you shouldn't be doing your job if you can't do it responsibly and be smart about it. It's really not that hard. If you're an air traffic controller and you're telling these planes that they have to depart, that's your job. That's not your kid's job. Lesson of the day. No matter what your job is, whether it's government regulated, actually working for the government, or just a civilian job out somewhere else that the government really doesn't care about, when you go ahead and you go do that, don't take your kids to work to do it for you, because there's a good chance that they really don't know what they're going to do, and they're going to screw it up no matter how mundane it may be. I don't care if you work on an assembly line somewhere and all you have to do is look at a product and make sure that every single color is red. Your kid should not be doing that, because your kid is going to screw that up no matter what. And if your kid doesn't screw that up, somebody's going to find out about it and you're going to lose your job because you thought it would be a good idea.